Hello dear friends, and welcome to my channel Crafting with me, Indiana Jones, and today I present to you a Tim Burton style Halloween DIY collaboration celebrating the release of Beetlejuice. Oh, don't say it again or there'll be trouble. Let's get started. For today's project, I decided to do one big project, and there are some smaller projects that are involved, such as this moment right here where I'm taking some foam core that was black and now I'm painting this neon green. My theme is Beetlejuice, although the theme of the playlist is anything Tim Burton. And I wish I'd had more time because I did have other ideas. Now, after the green, I decided to use purple because I'm going to use purple on the inside of the canvas. I'm going to create an exploding canvas with Beetlejuice. And so the first thing I did was take this canvas. I bought it at Hobby Lobby, 90% off, so less than $2 I believe I spent on it. Now I'm painting the inside. First I painted it black to make sure that none of the residual painting can be seen through my paint. Now of course I'm painting it this wonderful color of purple. I really tried to pick out some very colorful items as I remember. Oh, look at this handsome devil. As I remember, the Afterlife had some really wild colors, but this is a very handsome dude. Unfortunately, I'm going to make him look like Beetlejuice. First thing I did, however, was cut at an angle the bottom of just the backside of that head of the neck so that it could stand out from the canvas. That'll help me angle it, as you can see there. And I was taking a good look at Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited. And from what I've heard from the, initial reports, critics, they said it was very fun, and it goes back to what Tim Burton did very, very well, which was spooky but fun, which I'm all about spooky and fun, especially for Halloween. Now, as you can see, I'm taking this mannequin head. It's a foam head. I got this at Hobby Lobby. They're very inexpensive, less than $6. And I'm painting him to look like Beetlejuice. Now, I did have a Beetlejuice episode years ago when I first started my channel. I had actors and everything. And the actor who played Beetlejuice, I actually did his makeup. And you can see it here in this little insert. And now I'm practicing this again and adding the purple makeup. It's not black, but it's a very deep, dark purple. And of course, I'm adding the eyebrows and all of the other elements to his face, including his eyeballs. Now, I had so many issues with his eyes. I just felt they were dead. But then again, I thought, well, isn't Beetlejuice dead? I believe so. So that deadpan look in his eyes, I recreated it very well because that's all I got back from him in these looks. I think he's looking pretty spiffy, don't you? Next, I have to put all of that, moss, mildew, mold, whatever this thing has on his face. It's horrible. And the first thing I did was just dot on some black and gray just to be the foundation for the rest of the painting. And this is exactly how I did it when I was doing the makeup. Maybe not so many dots. I used like foundation brush or what have you, but for this I thought it would be good just to have these little dots. Now we start building up the mold, and the best way to do this is using bright greens and dark greens and mixing them together. And you mix them together. The way I do it is I just, splotch it on. I don't know if it's the right way, but it works for me. And the thing is, I want it to look like mold and mildew or whatever it is growing on his face. It's just ugly, especially that thing on the side of his lips. Oh my goodness, always gives me the creeps. Now, I don't know about you, but I recall seeing Beetlejuice in the movie theaters, and I absolutely adored it. I thought it was such a fun movie back in the 80s, and I had so much fun watching it, and just the fact that it's coming back and hopefully as fun as it used to be from what I hear. Now, on top of this, I want the moss to have texture. So I'm using the grass that you use for modeled trains or what have you. I got this on Temu, and I thought it would be cool to add some of this green. And again, it's this bright dark green, and it just adds to the whole I think it just adds so much more, because it adds the texture and you can actually see it, and you can touch it too. It's very weird. And I'm telling you, I have this in my living room and it kind of creeps me out, because I forget that it's there when it's dark. When I had it in the craft room, it would I would stop and gasp every so often. Now I'm adding actual moss that I had in my stash, because I just wanted to add more creepiness to his face. I mean, it is what gives him his character. Again, have fun with this. This is a lot of fun to do. You can, as I said, it's not that expensive. It's less than $6 to get one of these mannequin heads, and it's so much fun to make it come to life, quote unquote, by making your own Beetlejuice head. Next, I had some pillow batting, I don't know what you call it, pillow stuffing, and I just used some alcohol ink to add a little bit of green here and there. I didn't want it all to be green, but I did want to have some touches of that ghastly green. It's like gangrene, I guess. It's gangrene green. I suppose that's what it's called. That's what he's got on his face. And all I'm doing is using a little bit of hot glue and just gluing on the cotton or the batting, whatever you want to call it. Now, you could use a wig if you prefer. I'm just trying to keep this very cost effective, so you really don't have to spend a lot of money. And to be very honest with you, other than the head and the canvas, everything else I already had in my stash. So I spent less than $10 to make this. Oh, it's kitty time. It's time to pet the little kitties. Now, you might wonder, why do I leave them in these very small containers? I'll be very honest with you. I've had really nice plushy little pillows on my desk, and they won't sit in it. They'll push it over, making a mess. I don't know how many times I've tried to do that and they pushed it over, and I've had paints and stuff fall all over the floor. So they like their little plastic containment units, even though they're hard and rough, but that's what they like. What can I do? Here I am finishing off his hair and just adding a few little touches here and there to make sure he looks as handsome as Beetlejuice can. Now it's time for the sandworms. I'm going to tell you honestly, I hate sandworms, and after this project, I hate them even more. It's not that it was difficult, it was very tedious, and I originally wanted to have 4 in my design. And let me tell you, after I finished 2, I was like, yeah, 2's good. No overkill. We don't need overkill for this character. So that's where I left it with 2. So the first thing I'm using is this pool noodle that they have at the Dollar Tree right now in white. And they have all the colors now: white, black, orange, purple, just perfect for Halloween. I'm using some heat gun just to bend it. As you can see, I can bend it and shape it, and also it takes away the rough edges so nicely. Look at that. And it also just, I don't know, it closes up the almost like the pores, I don't know if that makes sense, of the styrofoam. So it's easier to paint on the styrofoam as well. So I treated it on the outside. Again, if you're going to do this, make sure you're in a well-ventilated area, or you take a break after a few minutes, go outside, breathe some fresh air, and clear out the air in the room that you did this, please. Next, I'm going to use one of these little, I guess, I don't know what to call it, like a donut? Is it a donut? It's like a piece that you cut off of the pool noodle and it looks like a donut, so we'll call it a donut. This, believe it or not, will become the teeth of the sandworm. Now, I've always loved Tim Burton movies, but he's always so clever and ingenious creating these kind of monsters. So this sandworm, to have some teeth, all I did was score across the top. And I apologize that it's so hard to see because of the lighting. I was working in broad daylight, so I had perfect lighting from my window. Usually I'm crafting in the middle of the night. So here I'm using the heat gun again, and as you can see, it's opening the division between the top and the bottom teeth, and now you can see the actual teeth appear. So when you score styrofoam, when you just score styrofoam or cut styrofoam and you add heat to it, it will expand so that you can see the details much better. Now I'm just using some hot glue to glue those teeth, the dentures, into the interior worm. Now remember, sandworms are made of two worms, one on the inside and one on the outside. So this is the inside worm that I'm creating right now. Now I'm just going to glue all the facets and put it aside so that it'll set before I start my next step. Now, when I was looking at the sandworms, and yes, I looked at a lot of pictures of sandworms, there were some photos that depicted the interior worm as a light green color. Others, it seems white. And I don't know. I thought the light green would look better and it would differentiate it and bring some more color to the exploding canvas. Now for the exterior worm, I'm going to use my favorite, of course, air dry clay. And I'm just going to roll it out and shape it into what I think, or what I've seen in pictures, the exterior worm would look like. And it's basically this kind of shape. I'm just like doing a very elongated oblong. Is it oblong? An oblong oval. And that's going to be the top and bottom of the exterior worm. Once I have the top and bottom cut, I'm just going to shape it so that it's a little more pointy at the end. But what I'm also doing is rolling in the edges because I'm going to need to create a row of teeth. What are the teeth going to be made of? I don't know. When I was making this video at this point, I didn't know. I did come up with something that was fast and easy because I'll tell you, after making like 4 worms, I was very tired. I didn't want to put in the teeth one by one, but I did come up with something fast and easy instead of having to make clay teeth. So all I'm doing is enrobing the interior worm with the exterior sandworm face. And it's very easy to do, of course, with foam clay because number 1, it does attach itself to the foam that you're using, and number 2, it's just very simple and easy to use without any worries of cracks. Once you finish the outside and let it harden and dry, as you can see, there's no cracks. All you have to do is paint with the iconic Tim Burton style, that black and white that he loves to use in all of his movies in one way or another. And it's funny, when he first started, Beetlejuice was, although it was his first film in a way that he wrote himself, his first film was actually Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure. I don't know if you realize that, but a lot of people forget. And then right after that, he did Beetlejuice and, of course, Batman. So if you know anything about the filmography of Tim Burton, you know that he very much uses this style in a lot of his films. Now, alongside Luna, who will be supervising everything, of course, let's put everything together. Here is the frame. As you can see, I have the black and white stripes on one side and these squiggles that I made on the inside of that canvas. Remember, I painted it just purple before, and then I added these little squiggle designs just to add a little more interest. And I think it looks very Tim Burton, don't you? Now, I'm just eliminating some of these pieces because when you're creating, especially on such a big canvas, it's best to just rip some of the inside of that breakthrough out, especially since, you know, Beetlejuice's head is the main part, so it's pretty big. Now there he is. I'm adding a collar to his neck because I want to make sure that it looks believable, that it's Beetlejuice himself. So I added a collar and I added some shoulders as well, while Luna snoozes in the background, enjoying the wonderful rain. There was a rain shower, and it was just a wonderful afternoon to be creating my Beetlejuice craft. I added more pool noodles just to be able to create some shoulders. I don't know if that makes sense, but I decided to have some shoulders so that if you look into the breakthrough, you see a shirt and the shoulders. And here I am just creating a shirt. Now, that collar, I did remove that from a shirt that I no longer wore, and then I'm just adding some cotton for the rest of the shirt. I didn't think I was going to need to add the shoulders and the shirt, but I decided it looks better with that because it just allows for more continuity. And actually, this step helped me to really secure the Beetlejuice head into the frame without using a lot of glue or worrying about him slipping out, and you'll see in just a moment. Last but not least, of course, I needed to add a tie, and here you can see that I'm just adding a ribbon. It was a very stiff ribbon, and it was perfect to create a tie and just a finishing touch to this Beetlejuice bust. If you like what you've seen so far, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and come back for some more Halloween fun. Now I have put Beetlejuice's head into the bursting canvas, and as you can see, I was able to wedge his shoulders within the canvas itself, which held very, very well. I didn't have to use a lot of glue. I just used a few dabs of glue on the back of his head, but the rest of him is held very nicely within the canvas itself because of the shoulders that I created. Now I'm just bending over the pieces of the canvas and gluing them in place so it looks like he's bursting through the canvas. I actually love this. This has become like a trendy thing this year. I hadn't seen it before. I've seen a couple of friends do it, and I was so inspired, and then I immediately thought of doing something like this, especially with Beetlejuice, because you know he'd just crash through a canvas without any cares whatsoever. Now I have to figure out where I'm going to add the worms, but one thing I almost forgot to show was I added some eyes, and I also created those little black and white tongues as well. And now for the teeth, I'm going to use the ends of zip ties. I know. I was looking at the teeth. The teeth are black and white as well, and it was just too much work, people. I'll be very honest with you. I love you guys and everything, but it was just too much work. So I thought this was the next best thing that gave the same kind of feeling of these scary, scary sandworms. And look how cute they came out. I thought they were very cute. The cats didn't mind them at all. I was trying to spook them with them. No, they didn't care. They thought it was fine, whatever. So here I am adding the last of the teeth, and now to add it to the canvas. Now once the worms were done and they were placed inside the canvas, I also made sure to include my lights, and then we were ready for a final reveal. Well, I hope you had as much fun watching as I did making this video, and I had so much fun with my fellow crafters and creators who joined this Beetlejuice playlist. Thanks again for stopping by, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, stay safe, be kind, God bless each and every one of you, and remember to live the adventure. And I'll see you again with more Halloween fun.